You spent 12 years in school, you learned calculus, periodic table, Shakespeare, but don't you find it funny that nobody taught you how to file a tax return? What a Form W-2 is? And nobody taught you the difference between a tax deduction and a tax credit? Think that's by accident? Today, this video, I'm here to educate you people on the tax code. I'm gonna break down why schools don't teach you about money, who benefits from that, and what you should have actually been taught, and some further homework items for you to take a look into after this video. What's up, everyone? Andrew D'Amico here. I'm a CPA partner here allegedly alongside my good man, Mike Abrahamian. We've helped hundreds of business owners take control of their taxes and stop overpaying the IRS, their state. And the one common thing we see with taxpayers over and over is the amount of financial, really tax ignorance. It's not random. It's not really person by person. It's just because they just didn't learn any of this stuff. So without further ado, let's dive right in. What the school teaches you versus what you actually need. Think about the standard high school curriculum. You got your calculus, you got some form of science, maybe chemistry, history, some form of literature, right? Like Shakespeare. Now, I'm not listing those and here to bash on those subjects and say they're completely useless. They're not. Education is important. But let me ask you this. How many people do you know that use calculus on a daily basis? Honestly, I can't even name one person that uses calculus daily. But on the flip side, how many adults deal with taxes and money problems? Probably close to 100%. For 99% of students coming up through the school system, they weren't taught how income tax brackets work, what the difference between a W-2 and a 1099 is, how to file a tax return, how compound interest works. Every adult has to manage money, but 0% of the curriculum prepared you for that. So why would they do that? Because I hate to say it, but because a financially literate population is harder to control and ultimately tax and obtain money from. So let's talk about it. I mean, who benefits from your misunderstanding of money and taxes? Well, namely, number one, the government. If you don't understand taxes, you're likely not questioning your tax bill, you don't know where to look for deductions, and you likely haven't optimized your income structure. You just pay whatever TurboTax or your tax preparer says you owe. You're like, okay, yeah, $1,000, $10,000, $20,000. All right, take it. Yeah, I'll see you next year. But once you understand how tax brackets work, how business income is taxed differently, how capital gains are treated, you start asking more informative questions. And informed taxpayers are much harder to tax because they're going to implement and roll out strategy to reduce their bill. Legally, of course. Another beneficiary, bank and credit card companies. If you don't understand compound interest, you're likely taking on massive student debt. You'll carry credit card balances with 20% plus interest, and you go out and buy a new car and finance it for 72 months. Banks make billions off financial illiteracy. But when you understand money, you'll avoid high interest debt, use credit strategically, and invest instead of consume. You become unprofitable to them. The last big beneficiary of someone's financial illiteracy would be employers. Think about it. If you don't understand compensations and how you're taxed, it's harder for you to negotiate. You don't understand your benefits, and you don't realize how limited your tax strategy is when you're a W-2 earner. You don't know how it's taxed differently as to a business owner. So you're entirely dependent on that weekly paycheck from your employer. But again, once you understand money and taxes, you can negotiate aggressively and confidently, know how to evaluate your total compensation and what you're worth, unlock some business owner tax strategies, and start to gain leverage. And leverage changes everything. Sidebar here, I'm a prime example of this. So yeah, I went to school for accounting, but I mean, I took 1 or 2 accounting classes, which is basic fundamentals of debits and credits in high school, but I wasn't taught how to manage my debt or how to build side income. Everything was focused on, hey, get your CPA license, go to a Big Four, get a good paying job, and stay there forever, right off into the sunset. I started building side income when I was at my last job. I started this practice with Mike, and I was working full time. And then when it got to a point where I knew the potential and how much I could earn on the side as a self-employed person, I knew my worth. I knew my value. So when it came to salary negotiations, annual, year over year, it was really only worth it for me to stay here if he doubles my salary. And of course he didn't do that because he is the employer. Thought he had all the leverage. And because I had been educating myself and implementing strategy for other business owners, I was able to ascertain like, hey, I know my worth. I know what I could be doing full time with my own gig. And I was able to walk away and I'm in a much better situation. But how do you get that know-how? What topics should you be educating yourself on? Just start with the basics. So number one, tax and paycheck basics. Literally just take your W-2 or take your most recent pay stub and learn how to read a paycheck. Why, if you get paid $5,000 every 2 weeks, you're only taking home $3,000, right? Understand that the gross versus the net, what's getting withheld, your FICA, federal income tax, your state income tax. Know how to read a pay stub. Another topic worth educating yourself on investing and compound interest. If you start investing $500 a month at the age of 25, assume you earn 10% annual rate of return, and you do that every month up until you're 65, you're talking about having an account that's worth over $1 million. However, change the facts, and let's say you start that process at the age of 35, that only turns out to about $350,000. That's nearly a $700,000 difference by starting 10 years earlier with the same amount. This one topic alone has the ability to change your entire life trajectory and give you a very comfortable retirement. But again, it's something that you got to start immediately. And lastly, income and tax strategy. So high level, you should be understanding how business owners are taxed differently than W-2 peoples, especially if you're a business owner, because if your entity structure is not optimized, you could be getting nailed with self-employment tax, which you feel it hits much harder when you're a business owner as opposed to a W-2 person. So understand that difference. I'm not out here trying to make everybody an entrepreneur, but this should be shown to kids in school to let them know that, hey, there's more than one path than just finding a good job and sitting at a desk 9 to 5 every day. There's another path to life, and it's called entrepreneurship. So guys, I hope you found this video helpful. If this video opened your eyes, please do us a favor, drop a like, hit that subscribe button. And if you want help building a strategy that actually works, book a call with us. There's a link in the description below, or you can get over to our website, and we'll see you guys on the next video.